Well, hello everybody. This is Larry here, and today we're going to talk about something that's going on in the haunted house industry right now, where it seems like the season is going terrible. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. Now, I was going to talk about it in the video I was making a minute ago, but where I was showing you the darkness sign. But I noticed on the disc it said only 1 minute left, and so I knew I wasn't going to be able to talk about it, so we just ended that video and we're doing a part 2 because I don't have time with everything that I'm doing to edit videos and everything else. You know, and the reason why I came over here to the gift store, because I think it's a perfect place to talk about this topic today, which is the haunted house industry kind of tanking this year? And last night, Patty and I stayed in this here in the gift store till about 4:30 in the morning, restocking the gift store, cleaning it up. And you notice, like, up on the top shelves, like how now you can kind of see. So we, like, the people who need to restock know where everything is, all the extra stuff. Okay, putting more masks up and everything else. And so that's what we were doing till about 4 a.m. And we got a lot of new stuff coming in too. We'll do more videos about that because we really are learning about what is working and what's not working. And here, you know, here's the interesting thing that I want to talk about today, because a lot of people are freaking out because attendance is really bad so far. We've got, and as a recording of this video, we are through the first weekend of October, and people are freaking out. I'm hearing 15 to 50% of some of the, you know, really big haunts, their attendance is severely dropped. Now, why is that? And I just want to talk about that for a second. And I'm going to have to get political because that's going to be part of it. But it's not the only part, and we'll get to all of it. But I literally did a video in the summer. And you could just call me Nostradamus or whatever you want to do. And I literally talked about politics. And people said, oh, don't talk about politics, stay about haunted houses. Well, we have to talk about politics because there's an election going on. And it's between Donald Trump and literally the worst candidate who's ever run for president, Kamala Harris. And I say that because this woman has never gotten a vote. She's never done anything. And she's been in office for almost 4 years. You have outrageous inflation. You have wars raging all over the world. You have home ownership is literally unobtainable at the moment because there's a housing crisis. Why? Because you've let 20 million illegal aliens into the country, and and the government's been spending all this FEMA money trying to find a place for these people to live and work and give them money for food, and you have a housing crisis. Just like you have a massive inflation, people can't afford to buy food. People can't afford to pay their energy costs because they've skyrocketed. Like, everything is skyrocketing, okay, on the inflation side. The interest rates are sky high. I mean, this is what you get when the government spends trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars they do not have. And you have a real crisis on energy because there's a lot of sanctions on Russia because of Ukraine. And just the whole thing is a catastrophe. And even though all of these bad things are happening, I will call them the fake news media as literally working overdrive to make sure that they convince the American people that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. They use the word existential threat. Like the mastodons being exterminated, okay? And what have we seen? 2 assassination attempts on Donald Trump. The rhetoric is out of control. I predicted this in the summer because the media, the traditional mainstream media, is literally like 90% liberal. They're working overdrive to sell Kamala Harris as a savior to this country, even though she's been there for almost 4 years, has accomplished nothing but wars, inflation, and massive amounts of crime and illegal immigration. These are things that you can't run on, right? In any normal election, you can't run on this. But they got the ace in the hole. And the ace in the hole is that they want to sell you on the fact that Donald Trump is absolutely awful, that he's a terrible human being, he's an existential threat to democracy, which is completely false. And they've literally brainwashed people into thinking this. But when you look at polls, you know, the polls are really close. Now, I actually think Donald Trump is going to win. I think people are fed up with all this nonsense. But that's what the problem is. The media has no interest in talking about Halloween. And so even though I kind of shared my political beliefs, and by the way, I love to debate these subjects with people who feel the opposite way because they almost never have any facts. I talked to somebody today who said, oh, Donald Trump said this. And I go, well, you know, that's really interesting. Show me a clip where he said that. He never said that. It never happened. You know, my perfect one is like when Donald Trump said, you know, there's going to be a bloodbath. Kamala Harris in the interview literally said in the debate, he's the one who said there's going to be a bloodbath if he doesn't win. That's not what he said. Okay, and that's the problem. The fake news media shows little clips to make him look bad. He said there would be a bloodbath in the automobile industry if he's not elected because the Democrats will let the Chinese literally flood the market with cheap automobiles and it'll hurt American workers. That's what he said. But no, the Democrats are using it to frame it that he said bloodbath, and that if he's not elected, like, oh, his followers will just uprise. No, that's not what he said. But this video is not about politics, even though it seems like it is. It's not. It's just that I predicted that the fake news media and the people on social media that literally despise Donald Trump, and I understand all the reasons why people don't like a politician. There's a lot of reasons to not like politicians because I don't think any of them are honest, to be honest with you. Okay? But with that being said, they're in overdrive. They're literally pounding the airwaves every day. 30 days to decide this election. When is the election? Most haunted houses will be open through November the 2nd. The election, I believe, is on November the 4th. So essentially, if you're open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it's the next day. So you have got media overdrive on we can't re-elect Donald Trump. We can't re-elect Donald Trump. They have no time to talk about Halloween. They have no time to talk about anything fun. They only want to fill the airwaves with what might happen if Donald Trump is elected. And it's not even Donald Trump. You have Republicans as well saying, we don't think there will ever be another fair election ever again if Kamala Harris is in charge because she's going to do X and she's going to do Y and she's going to do Z. And it really doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on. People are really adamant that the other side not win. Everybody's arguing, everybody's fighting about politics. So this is a huge factor in why things aren't going the way you want them to be. Okay? People have a lot of anxiety right now about this election because they feel so strongly for or against the other side. We don't have a country anymore where people work together even if their side doesn't win an election. It's either or proposition. You vote party line down the middle, there's no dialogue. And it's really transferred over to social media where people are literally saying, I've seen posts which are so ridiculous. I am with her. If you're not with her, unfriend me. I mean, this is the environment you're in right now on social media. The anxiety is at a peak. Okay? Now, this isn't a political video. It's literally stating a fact that people have a lot of anxiety about this upcoming election. And I think that has a lot to do with it. Now, with that being said, what are some of the other factors why haunted houses aren't doing well? Well, I think a lot of it has to do with price. Pinball machines aren't selling well either anymore. Why? Because they raised the price to a point where it's not worth it anymore. So I think that price is a huge factor. Now let me tell you why I think that. In September and August, I ran a special for buying tickets to the haunted house. It was $20. And I said, rolled back prices, 13 years. There's only a limited amount. The Darkness did over 2,000 people on its first day because of this discount. You see what happens when you lower the price? You get a big reaction. If your goal is to do 70,000 customers, you could easily do that. Lower the price to $15 and watch what happens, okay? But will you make any money at 70,000 people at $15? And by the way, will your haunted house be very good? I think probably not. And by the way, when's the last time I made a video where my phone doesn't go off, okay? It just did. It's like a tradition. So with that being said, if you understand what I'm saying, you can't make money selling tickets for $20. But I did it for September because I kind of felt the temperature in the room was that I don't think people are willing to pay $35, $45, $70, $50, which I've seen the prices of some of you people out there. You've gone too far. So instead of figuring out ways to diversify your business, as I have done, you're reliant on people paying a higher price for a ticket. So I've talked to haunts who said, we still have 200 actors. Well, that's suicide, okay? You got to figure out how to get off of 200 employees and get down to 125 employees. Or get your haunted house from 75 actors to 50 actors. You've got to figure out ways to lower the costs of operation, because haunted houses are expensive to operate. So that's the first thing you got to be looking at. But aside from that, you've got to look and figure out, how do I diversify so I don't have to have such a high price on my haunted house because it's my sole way of paying these bills. And so look at this gift store. Okay? This was an investment. We've been working on this gift store for 2 or 3 years, and look at it. It's freaking fantastic. Okay, it's freaking fantastic. It wasn't done overnight. It was sensing that, hey, we need to diversify. We opened escape rooms. The escape rooms, and every haunted house owner I talk to tells me they make more money off their escape rooms than they do off their haunted house. And yet we still have amazing haunted house owners who are capable of doing so many great things that haven't diversified. They haven't added a big retail store. They haven't added a full year-round type of business, whether it be escape rooms or something else. This is a problem. This is a problem. You can't have all of your eggs in one basket and then flip out when the one egg gets cracked. Okay? So even if the haunted house season doesn't do fantastic for me this year, which by the way, the money is down. Okay? As I predicted it would be, okay? So what did I do different than a lot of other people? I was pounding social media all summer long. I made that my focus. Pound, pound, pound away. And literally, we built up our Instagram page from, I don't even remember what it was, when right before summer, it was around 30-something thousand. Now it's 96,000. My YouTube page for Scarefest has gone up by 1,000 as well by uploading little shorts. The Darkness Facebook page actually doubled in followers. It's now up to 46,000. Now, we have another social media page that has 122,000 or something, and that's when all of the haunts were one. Then we built 3 more Facebook pages. And the Darkness was always hovering around 25,000. And now it's 46,000. Okay? So we're trying to stay engaged with the customers, which I think is almost like a full-time job now. It's a year-round job. And so that's some of the things we did too to diversify the messaging. Okay? In other words, hey, I know Halloween isn't for 6 months, but we're still here. We're still we're still waiting and we're still building and we're working towards seeing you again in September. So I think that is an issue and a problem. Here's the other problem, and this is a big one. Theme parks, I think customers have grabbed on to Universal Studios Horror Nights so deeply that they almost think that all theme parks are like Universal Horror Nights when we know they're not. And I think that when you look at the value of a theme park where you can use a season pass and get in and you got the rides and everything else, and you think, well, technically that's free. You've already bought the season pass and it's free to get into the overall event, even if they charge you separate to go to the haunted houses. But it seems like it's free. Hey, when you're a cost conscious and you want to celebrate Halloween, that's a way to do it. Okay? And you've got to push back on the idea that all things are created equal, because we know they're not. We know that a theme park, most of them, probably 90% of them, are nowhere near as good as your haunted house. The experience is totally on another level, okay? Not everybody's Universal Studios. You've got to do a better job of differentiating your attraction from the theme parks. But what else? People are opening these glow pumpkin events. People are opening pop-up Halloween bars. People are doing all kinds of things for Halloween. Zoos are doing attractions. People are building haunted houses in their front yard. Escape rooms, whether you want to admit it or not, is a competitor to a haunted house, because a lot of escape room themes are scary. So when you start to add up all the pieces and you start to think about, look in my town, how many things are there to do that are similar or have Halloween as part of the theme as an attraction where you could spend money? Look in your town and figure out how many there are. You'll be so shocked to go, 10 years ago, none of this existed. Now you have a lot of competition. The City Museum here in St. Louis, they don't have haunted houses, but they're doing some kind of Halloween thing, okay? Some farm here in St. Louis, they're doing a haunted forest, okay? There's just lots of things, lots of competition. Some of you haunts, you have 5, 6 different haunts in one city. It's very possible that 5 or 6 haunts can't survive in this age with this ticket price. It's not possible unless you're running your attraction razor thin, like you literally have the budgets figured out to where, hey, I can make money or I can survive with a lower attendance number. You have to figure out ways. If you can't raise the main first price because it's affecting attendance, and I've seen that, you lower the price, you get more people. You raise the price, you get less. So there's got to be a happy medium to where you can lower the price, but not too much, but then figure out ways for people to spend more money with you when they're on your site. Or you've got to figure out ways to lower costs. Do I really need to run with this many staff? No. Do I really need this? Do I really need that? These are things you got to look at. But do I think the season, because of the political, it's really nasty. And I have to say, mostly it's the Democratic fake news media. They are working overdrive to just put Americans in a panic over the possibility that Donald Trump might win. By the way, we saw Donald Trump as president for 4 years. Okay, we know what we're getting there. We know what we're getting with Kamala Harris because we're living it right now. People are going to decide, they're going to vote, and that's it. I think the election's already decided. We just don't know it yet. You're not going to sway any more people, but the media is not going to stop trying. And by the way, we're talking both sides, okay? And this is the world you're living in. You're living in a very divided country on politics. And it just so happens the election is the day or 2 days after you're going to close your haunted house. And that's why I think you're seeing lower numbers. I also think you're seeing lower numbers because the price is too high. And right now the cost of living is super high. So people are not going to visit 5 haunted houses. They might visit something that's more affordable and a way to celebrate Halloween this year. It's going to be interesting to see when you talk about the spirits. Was their sales down for 2024? You know, I might go over, and I'm putting my shoes on, I might go over and talk to a spirits and see, is sales up or down or the same or whatever. I'm assuming that everything's down, okay? It's probably going to be down this year, but I don't think you need to panic. I think what happens is right now, nobody's really in the mood for Halloween, but as Halloween gets closer, you're going to see the same numbers you saw last year. That's what I think. I think the last 15, 16 days, you're going to see the same numbers you had last year because, people will say, you know, I don't want to miss the season. I want to do it. But right now, overall, people aren't thinking about it. And by the way, the weather's been very warm, and you've had all these horrible things on the news about wars, and now you've got these hurricanes destroying literally North Carolina and Georgia. And by the way, my heart goes out to all you people. It's absolutely devastating. But it's just, this is what the news cycle is right now. But I think what's going to happen is things, maybe not this coming weekend, but after that, I think people are going to realize, hey, I want to go to a haunted house. And I think you'll do really well. Your attendance might be down again this year, but don't look at the first weekend as an indicator. I think you're not going to really be able to know what the real indicator is until after this weekend. You'll get a better idea of how much down the last 2 weekends may or may not be. But my ultimate prediction is the second week of October will be down again. And then the second or the third and the fourth weekend of October is going to be the same as it was before, which is the meat and potatoes of all your revenue anyway. And I think it's going to be the same, a little more, or just a tad less. And then I think November the 1st and 2nd is going to be better than it was last year. So it could kind of even itself out, possibly, or you could be down just a little bit. But I just think the environment right now is so negative on politics that you're not going to see big numbers early unless you're discounting heavily. And if you're not doing that, I think the people will just come out the last 3 weekends. So maybe not this weekend coming up is going to be fantastic, but I think weekend, technically, you'll have 3 weekends left because you'll have Halloween, November 1st, November 2nd, for sure. I think will be better than it was before. Because don't forget, Halloween's on a Thursday. So I think people might actually come out more on Halloween because it's right up against the weekend. And then I think it'll carry over really well being on Friday and Saturday. And I think that weekend will make up for some of this bad season you've had so far. But I wouldn't start panicking because I really do think the last 2 weekends will be the same as last year, a little up. And I think the very last 3 days, I think even that Thursday would be really good if you're open on that Thursday. I think you're going to see you kind of catch up. So I wouldn't panic. I wouldn't press the panic button just yet, even if this weekend coming up isn't great. But this is the environment you're in. There's no mood for it. And I think it's just going to be one of those seasons where you get really, really on top of Halloween and they're going to come out just like they did before. That's my prediction. We'll see if I'm right. But I did predict that the season might be down because of the election. And of course, I'm voting for Donald Trump. I hope everybody votes for Donald Trump because if you're a business owner and you want to keep and if you're an employee of a business and you want to keep your job, I don't know what's going to happen. I think the stock market will soar if he gets reelected. I think a lot of these problems in the Middle East and Russia can get solved, and we can just get back to being normal. Not talking about wars and inflation, but who knows? I may be wrong. And if Harris gets elected, do I think the world's going to fall apart? No, I do not. Okay? I think we're just going to keep going, and we're going to do our thing. But the biggest thing of all is to be non-political on any of your social media, even your personal social media, because a media member might follow you and see, oh, I hate Donald Trump. Okay? So I don't want to cover that haunted house. Just stay non-political. And hey, serve everybody who wants to come to your haunted house. That's the way I see it. I want everyone to come to the haunted house, and that's that. But that's the environment you're in. You're in an environment where nobody's in the mood for Halloween, and I just think it's going to take, hey, Halloween's almost here, for people to realize, hey, I want to go to a haunted house. That's my prediction. We'll see if I'm wrong. You guys leave a comment below and tell me if you think I'm wrong or right. But I did make a video, and I did say that this election is going to be bad. Whether you're for or against Trump or Harris, it doesn't matter. People are really invested in this election for their own reasons. Who's to argue? But right now, people aren't thinking about Halloween. That's my opinion. And I do think you have more competition than you had before, and you've raised your price probably a little too much considering the inflation and the problems that we're having today in the economy. But the last 3 weeks, I think, are going to be fantastic. That's my prediction. Let's see what happens. Keep pounding social media. Keep reminding people to come to your haunted house. I think they will. And I think the season will even itself out in the end. That's my prediction. And I'm sorry if you're offended by any of the political comments that I've made. I'm actually thinking about doing a political YouTube page, and then you'll really see me go crazy. But until then, I'm not trying to be political on a Halloween page, but this is just my opinion of what the problems are today. So hopefully your season goes well for the rest of the year, and we'll talk to you soon. And I will be doing a video of Creepy World, and I will be doing a video of the darkness.